You held it together all day. You ran the meeting. You answered good, thanks, you? And you sounded like you meant it. You were, by every outside measure, completely fine. And then the car door closed, or the front door, or the last coworker left, and the whole performance dropped off you at once, and you sat there hollowed out, with nothing left, wondering why doing what everyone else seems to do for free costs you everything. If you know that specific exhaustion, the crash that only happens where no one can see it, this video is for you. Because here's the thing nobody tells you. High-functioning bipolar isn't a lighter version of the illness. It's a full-time job. One you never applied for, don't get paid for, and get zero credit for. Because the better you do it, the more invisible it becomes. I'm Clara from Bipolar Clarity, and I want to name the work you've been doing in the dark, show you the trap hidden inside the word functioning, and give you the one shift that ends the burnout. Stay with me for that. It's where we're going. So let's actually count the job because you've never been allowed to. All day, a part of you is running quiet background software that other people simply don't have to run. You're monitoring your own mood. Is this normal tired or the start of something? You're managing your energy so the wobble doesn't show. You're translating what you feel into a face that looks appropriate for the room. You're rationing your words when your thoughts speed up and forcing them out when they slow to a crawl. And then you go home and do your recovering in private so that tomorrow you can walk back in and look effortless all over again. That is labor. Real, constant, depleting labor. Aiken describes a state a lot of people in this life know well. Tired and wired, running on fumes while the engine won't idle down. You're not lazy, and you're not fragile. You are doing a second full-time job that happens to be invisible, on top of the visible one everyone actually sees. And if a quiet voice ever whispers that you're faking it, that because you can still function you don't really count, that maybe you don't even deserve the diagnosis or the help, I want you to know how common that exact thought is. It is not evidence that you're fine. It's a measure of how well you hide. The people who mask the best are so often the ones doubting the hardest whether they're even allowed to struggle. Now here's the trap. And this is the part I really need you to hear, because it's the reason so many high-functioning people stay stuck. Because you function, everyone concludes you must be fine. Your doctor sees you holding a job and relationships and thinks, not urgent. Your family thinks, you're doing so well. And worst of all, you start to think it too. If I can still do all this, maybe it's not that serious. Maybe I don't deserve support. Maybe I should just push harder. So you push harder. And that is exactly how high functioning turns from a compliment into a prison. Don't let the mild-sounding label fool you. Clinicians who study the softer end of this spectrum, bipolar 2 especially, have found it is far more impairing than anyone used to assume. Long, recurring depressions and constant anxiety, hidden underneath a surface that looks totally managed. Looking fine on the outside is not the same as being fine. It is often the most expensive thing you do all day. And there's a sharper edge to this trap. When you're high-functioning, your hypomania doesn't look like an illness. It looks like a great month. You're productive, sharp, charming, on fire, and everyone applauds. So the very state that should raise a flag gets celebrated instead of caught. Meanwhile, your crashes happen quietly, at home, behind the mask, where no doctor and no friend is there to see them. You can be genuinely unwell for years and have it registered to the outside world as thriving. That's how people fall through the cracks while looking like the success story. So what do you do about it? Not try harder. You've already mastered that, and it's the thing hurting you. 3 shifts. Let me give you all 3. Shift 1. Budget your energy like money, not willpower. You do not have unlimited effort that you're failing to access through discipline. You have a finite amount, and this illness taxes it heavily. So stop pacing yourself to your best day, the day you felt unstoppable and said yes to everything. Pace yourself to your average day. Spend to your real budget, not your peak. And you stop the boom and bust cycle where you overspend on Monday and are bankrupt by Thursday. You know the pattern. A good day arrives, you feel capable. So you say yes to everything. The extra project, the dinner, the favor. It feels wonderful in the moment. And then you spend the next 3 days in a hole you can't climb out of, wondering why you're so wrecked. The fix was never more discipline on the bad days. It's spending a little less on the good ones. Shift 2. Schedule recovery before the crash, not after. Most high-functioning people only rest once they've collapsed. Recovery as an emergency. Flip it. Put the downtime in the calendar in advance, like an appointment you can't cancel. So it's protecting you before you hit empty instead of scraping you off the floor afterward. Proactive rest is 100 times cheaper than a burnout you have to climb out of. And it can be small. A genuinely empty evening you defend like a meeting. A Sunday with nothing on it at all. The size matters far less than the fact that it's there on purpose, standing guard, before you ever hit the wall. Shift 3. Take the mask off with a chosen few. You do not owe every single person the performance. Pick 1 or 2 safe people and let them see the real cost. The tired, the wired, the effort. The mask is one of the heaviest things you carry, and you're allowed to set it down somewhere. You'll be astonished how much energy comes back the moment you're not performing for everyone. And if you want one sentence that makes them finally get it, try this. I know I look fine. That's the exhausting part. It lands, because it names the whole gap between the performance and the price. And here's the shift I promised you. The one that changes the whole game. You have to redefine what functioning even means, because you've been measuring it by how you look to other people. Real functioning was never about looking fine. Real functioning is whether your life is sustainable, whether you can keep doing it without quietly destroying yourself to pull it off. So lower the bar from performance to sustainability. A slightly smaller life you can actually carry beats an impressive one that's hollowing you out. That's not giving up. That's the difference between sprinting until you drop and learning, finally, to pace the marathon you're actually in. If you'd like calm, practical tools for protecting your energy and your limits, the real sustainable kind, sent to you each week, you can join the Bipolar Clarity newsletter. It's free, and the link is in the description. And if Shift 3 landed, if part of what exhausts you is that you can never seem to say no, the video on your screen is your exact next step. How to set boundaries without the guilt that usually comes with them. I'll see you there, and be gentle with yourself. You've been working so much harder than anyone knows.